So probably because of the namaz, it might be an issue because
Yes, sir. Maybe they Brian. They will
yes,
Brian.
it may be an issue. So I'm giving you a picture because as I'm using from my laptop, that's why I don't want to go from my mobile phone. I want to go. So I have given you a picture. Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
It's written
Let me
in
pull up.
Bengali. It is written in Bengali. I don't know you know that or not. It's written in Bengali. Okay. Before starting our class, uh, as you all know that this month will be the last. Okay. This month will be the last of our class, and inshallah, we are heading good direction. And probably after this class, we have 4 or 5 class left, and I will try my best to complete our syllabus within that. But what I'm trying to say that because every class, you will face different topics. So you need to study. Okay, you need to study. You need to study properly. Okay, let me.
Rabashi. Rabashi.
أحمد
Hi, Sayud.
هذا الله صاحب كوفي أنا
Xaaladda ka war.
غير الله صاحب الحمد لله وحده لا يمكن فتح
warniyo macallimiin maxaa loogu gudbiyey maalmaha
Waa lagu soo qaban lahayaa xagee ka dhacday?
والله صاحب وكوجوها والله إني بيا الله يسكت جل لو صوب هذا
Okay, I think that we can we start. Eventually, they will join because we've waited. Okay, let me write for the last time so that they can join soon. And join soon. Okay. So Ahmed Mahdi, roll 12. Are you here, Ahmed Mahdi? Ahmed Mahdi. Ahmed. Ahmed Mahdi. Can we start, my student?
Yes, sir.
সজীব আছো এখানে? সজীব? সজীব আছো?
হ্যালো।
হ্যাঁ সজীব শোনা যায়?
জি স্যার শোনা যাচ্ছে।
ও আচ্ছা।
শুনতে পাচ্ছেন স্যার?
হ্যাঁ আমি শুনতে পাচ্ছি।
ওকে স্যার।
Okay. Let me mute. So I think that they will join by soon. So today we'll talk about an interesting topic. There's a very much brand new topic. That is known as tariff. Okay, tariff. Before starting, I think that lots of students will join. So we'll just have a general discussion. before going to the main topic. So tariff is basically the electricity bill. Okay. Interestingly, electricity bill in recent days in Bangladesh, the electricity bill is suffering so much because of the pandemic. So I will ask some of my Bengali students. Nazifa, Sojib শুনতে পাচ্ছ?
কি স্যার?
বাসার বিলের কি অবস্থা?
স্যার বাসার বিল ঠিকই আছে।
জানো নাকি আন্দাজে বললা?
না না জানি স্যার, ঠিক আছে।
কি প্রিপেড মিটার?
হ্যাঁ।
প্রিপেড মিটার?
জি স্যার।
প্রিপেড মিটারে খুব একটা প্রবলেম হয় নাই। যাদের পোস্ট পেইড বা যাদের বিল আসে আর কি, যেটা তাদের একটা প্রবলেম হয়েছে, এবং এখানে তারা একটা খুব বাজে গেম খেলছে। এটা একটু পরে বুঝবা। সজীবের বাসায় কি অবস্থা? সজীব সোমানের বুঝবে না। My foreign students, have you faced any problem in electricity bill in Bangladesh recently? Anyone?
No, sir.
No, almost same.
No, sir. No.
Okay, interesting. But in recent days, there are some problems happening because of the corona pandemic, and some of the distribution company, electricity company are playing some bad games with us. So today our topic is based on that topic, that is tariff. Tariff is the formal name of electricity bill. Okay, it's the formal name. So tariff is the rate at which we pay the electricity bill. Okay. So you can see that the rate at which the electrical energy is supplied to a customer. We're basically a customer. Okay, we're a customer for that company, and we take connections, electrical connection from that company, and they provide us the electricity. And according to our consumption, basically we consume the real power, not the reactive power, and we pay for the real power, not for the reactive power. Okay, I believe that you all know that what is real power, what is reactive power, or you all know. And my student, basically we pay for that real power, and we all know that the real power unit is kilowatt, and that is power, and what we pay for, that is energy. So we yesterday in the last class we also discussed that in energy, when we are considering energy, definitely we need the time with the power. So that's why we all know that the energy E equals to PT. P means power, T means time. So if we multiply the power with time, at that time we can get the amount of energy we use. The unit of energy is kilowatt hour. The unit of energy is basically the kilowatt hour. Okay, you can give your role in the chat box, everyone. The total 14 students right now, you can give your role in the chat box. So that the energy unit is kilowatt hour. So 1 kilowatt hour is 1 unit of electricity. 1 kilowatt hour is 1 unit of electricity. And the rate or the price we pay for 1 unit of electricity, that is tariff. 1 unit of electricity we pay for. Suppose we have consumed 12 unit electricity, and every unit is 5 taka, so we have to pay 60 taka, in Bangladeshi currency, 60 taka. So 5 taka is the tariff rate or the electricity supply rate.
Hello?
Yes,
স্যার
yes.
একবার বলুন স্যার এটা।
সজীব বলো।
হ্যাঁ স্যার আরেকবার একটু ক্লিয়ার করেন স্যার, ক্লিয়ার হলো না ট্যারিফটা।
ট্যারিফটা কি?
হ্যাঁ স্যার আরেকবার বলুন স্যার এটা।
আচ্ছা, so Sojib requested that, sir, what is tariff? Tell us one more time. Tariff is basically the rate of electricity.
Okay.
The rate, which rate? The money rate. The money rate, at which rate you pay to the company. Suppose you have consumed 100 kilowatt electricity, the bill has come to you at 500 taka. So 1 hour, 1 kilowatt hour or 1 unit electricity, you have to pay 5 taka. So that 5 taka is the tariff rate.
Tariff. Okay.
Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
That is the the minimum amount of electricity unit. That means 1 unit of electricity, how much money you need to pay, that is the tariff.
Tariff.
I think it's the most simplest form of definition.
Yes,
So basically the rate at which the electrical energy is supplied to a consumer is known as tariff. Okay. So before going to the different types of tariff, today our main topic will be the different types of tariff that is available and which type of tariff we are currently using, or the company has been supplying to us. Will also give you. My electricity connection is covered by Rural Electrification Board Bangladesh, the REB, the Polli Bidyut. You know that is one of the distribution company of Bangladesh. There are several distribution company of Bangladesh in Dhaka. Some parts have been distributed by DPDC. Some parts are DESCO. So these are two individual company, the distribution company. In the northern part, it is NESCO. In the southern part, in the Khulna region, it is WZPGC, something like that company. I currently, in the Chattogram region, it is also PDB, the Power Development Board. They have their own distribution.
Sir, we have also, sir. Yeah.
Yes. Same. So there are some different distribution company, and different distribution company offers different types of tariff rate. Okay. So before going to the different types of tariff rate, that is our main topic today. Let me discuss that what is the objective of tariff, that why the tariff is basically taken. Suppose this kind of electrical power plant, they produce electricity, isn't it? To produce electricity, they have to spend a huge amount of money on the establishment of the power plant. On the establishment, when they start to establish, they invest a huge capital investment on that. So that is their fixed cost. They have already invested those money. And next, the cost comes the maintenance of that power plant. What are the maintenance? So first of all, it will be the fuel cost. The fuel cost, that is running cost. The maintenance cost is always known as running cost. The fixed cost is that structure, the turbine, the generator, all the components you have established. That is fixed cost. But the running cost is basically the fuel cost, because you need to use the fuel, you need to give the fuel to the power plant regularly. Then the maintenance cost, that if any component or any section gets any defected or any problem happens, at that time you have to maintain those sections. And also you need some personnel, that means you need some people to maintain that, to maintain the operation properly. So to to give the salary or to give the remuneration to those people, also you need some running cost. So these are the two types of cost. One is the fixed cost, they have already been applied. One is the running cost or the maintenance cost. Okay, so the first of all, this is objective, that why we will apply, or why the company apply the tariff. Because when they give you the electricity, always think that this electricity is basically a product for them. They're selling a product to you. Electricity is a product. They're selling a product. So in returns, whatever the value they will select, definitely it should consist of their investment. So the objectives of tariff, you can see from here, the recovery of cost of producing the electrical energy, because whatever the cost they have invested, definitely they will try to recover that cost from the tariff. The second is the recover the cost on the capital investment in the transmission and distribution line. One thing I forgot to mention, my student, that after the generation of electricity, we need to transfer that electricity, isn't it? Suppose we have, some area, in some area we have big power plants, but our national grid is connected to the whole country.
Whole country, yeah.
So we need to supply those power from those power plant using the transmission line. That's why in the highway line, in the highway road, you see the big transmission line, big tower, electrical tower. Why those are used? Those are national grid line. Those are transferring the power from one side to another side of the country. So to maintain that, suppose a storm, a natural calamity, sometimes, you can see that our electricity is gone. Why? Because those towers are, broken. Some connections has been, cut out. So to maintain that and to continue the investment, to recover from that investment, because they have invested, they will always try to think as a businessman. So they will try to recover their cost from the customer. So one of their objective is that try to recover some amount of cost of that capital investment in the transmission and distribution. Even though you see in your area, you will see some of the transformers, some of the big electrical poles. Those have been their investment. They have already invested. So they will gather those money from yourself. And how, if they ask you that, please give us 5,000 taka, will you give you? No. Will you give? No. So how they will impose those money? So the amount of electricity they are using, you are using. So at that time, when they fix the rate, that how much the electricity price per unit cost, they will add those costs, some portion of cost into your per unit. So that is the one way of recovering the capital investment. The third one is the recovery of cost of operation and maintenance, that I already told. The first one is the the overall your investment. The second one is the transmission and distribution cost. The third one is the maintenance cost. And finally, if I sum all the costs, it will be the total cost. So suppose I have produced a product, and every product costs 20 taka. So if I sell that product, will I give you at 20 taka? No, because whatever the effort I have made, I should or I will make a profit. That profit might be reasonable profit. Okay, so that profit I will make from yourself. So from that cost, I will add a small amount of money as a profit. Okay, so that profit I will use to add in the tariff. Okay, so in the tariff, when a company selects the tariff, they add all the costs and also a small amount of profit they add into the tariff rate. So among those all things, that to get profit, to recover the cost of maintenance, to recover the cost of transmission, and to recover the cost of the producing electricity, everything is the objective of setting a tariff. I think you understand that. Now the tariff should have some characteristics. Okay, it cannot be, we cannot set everything. Suddenly you said, okay, 20 taka per unit. No, you cannot set like that, because there should be some logic behind that. So the first thing is that I will not discuss the, I will just take the word, I'll discuss by ourselves. The first word is the proper return. What does proper return means? Suppose my student, I have a company and I have invested so much money, and if I calculate the cost, the per unit cost becomes 10 taka. Okay, per unit cost becomes 10 taka. Now I select, I'm supplying to the customers, and I'm telling them the per unit cost you will get, that is 8 taka. So if I sell that electricity to all of my customers in the 8 taka, but already I have been costing 10 taka per unit, so the 2 taka is my loss. So it cannot be a proper tariff, because I cannot I cannot have loss in my business. So that's why it should be, it may be 12 taka, it may be 13 taka, it may be 15 taka, with the cost plus your profit. Okay, so at that time you get the proper return. But when you get the return, you can invest, you can use your cost, and still you have some profit. Okay, So that should be the proper return. Your tariff rate should be the properly, so that the return you get, it will not hurt you. Fairness. Fairness means transparency. Okay, transparency. Suppose uh, um, suppose a small customer, say consumes 100 kilowatt unit or 100 unit electricity. I give 5 taka per unit, so that means 500 taka. Similarly, a big industry, they are consuming 5,000 unit. One is 100, one is 5,000. If I give them 5 taka unit, it will be not applicable or not fair, because I am consuming more. I am consuming more, so I need to give some facility. So before going, my student, the interesting thing is that I'm sharing with all of you that the tariff change according to the region. Interestingly, the book we are studying is written by B.K. Mehta, who is a writer from Indian. Okay, a writer from Indian. So
Yes.
they will always explain the situation according to the Indian circumstances, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
They will not describe this from our situation. You see that the situation is totally different. I don't know about the Somalian situation. Probably they have, but in India and Bangladesh, the situation is totally 180-degree inverse. In India, you don't have the scarcity of electricity. They produce enough electricity. Okay, so they produce enough electricity. They export electricity. If you know, I don't know that India export 500 megawatt electricity to Bangladesh.
Yes, sir.
We Bangladesh import electricity from India. So basically, they have enough electricity. Okay, and interestingly, one more thing that my student, the AC power cannot be stored. You know, I believe that you know.
Yes, sir.
The AC power cannot be stored. So whatever the electricity they are producing, if they don't export, it will be not in their use also. So they export. So that is their condition. So for that, they provide some packages for the customers. Suppose you use 200 unit, your unit is 5 taka. If you can use 400 unit, your cost will be 4 taka. That means they are providing, they are encouraging the customers to use more electricity, because they have enough electricity. They have too much electricity, so they wanted to sell all. But the situation in Bangladesh is totally different. We all know that we still have load shedding, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Why load shedding happens? The load shedding happens because the discrimination or the difference between the demand and the supply.
Supply. Yes.
When the demand is much more and supply is less, at that time we need to shed the load. Some parts of loads we need to shed to maintain the supply versus demand. So in our country, the electricity is not available too much. We don't have, we are increasing. Right now, probably 94% of the whole area of Bangladesh has been under electricity, but still we import electricity and we don't have that. So that's why our government or our company makes the opposite game. So if you use more electricity, your per unit cost will be more.
More.
Suppose 300 unit electricity, you have 5. If you use 500, so among those 200, you need to pay much higher rate. I will show much higher rate. Okay, so that is a two different case. I just need to clarify, because when you study these and when you consider your situation, the Bangladeshi situation, or even Somalian students, they pay bill, when they consider that sir has told that when your consumption is much more, your electricity cost should be less. But the situation is reversed in our country because of the scarcity of electricity, and the government and the company does not encourage the customer to use more electricity, because if you use more electricity, unnecessary electricity, other people will not get the electricity. That's why that's the situation. Okay, so the fairness, it should be something like that. that all the customers cannot be treated same. Okay, if your customers, your large customers are getting much more, you know, much more electricity, definitely there should be some packages, there should be some, you know, facility for that great customer or for the big customer. So it should be fair. Okay. Simplicity. Simplicity means it should be simple, simple as possible, so that a person of a farmer can also understand, to the electrical engineer, to the farmer, or to a rickshaw puller, everyone can understand. So your tariff should be something like that. Your tariff should not be a exponential equation so that no one can calculate. So whatever the value you put, so no one can calculate. No, it should be as simple as possible so that everyone can understand that what is the way of finding the tariff, or what is the way of making the electricity bill. Okay. One of the characteristics is reasonable profit. Reasonable profit means to set the tariff, you need to include some profit, definitely some profit. Okay. And that should be in the reasonable. If some company makes only 1% profit and some company makes 50% profit, that is totally, you know, out of the, you know, box. No, you cannot do that. You should be in a particular range that that the customers does not get harmed or your company does not get harmed, you know. So you should be, the profit should be in a certain range that the customers are also get benefited and your company are also getting well and running well, so you can maintain the overall cost and continue the company with a small profit, as reasonable as possible. So it's a good practice that always try to have 8% profit. 100 taka, if you invest 100 taka, you get 8% profit per year. Okay, so this is a, you know, this is probably the situation in India, but I don't know about the Bangladeshi situation, because in Bangladesh these type of information are very much, you know, reserved information. They provide hardly less information to the public. But in the developed country, you will always you know one thing, that the country, the more developed, the accessibility of information is more. Okay, there the transparency is much more. When the country is less developed or developing or underdeveloping, they will always try to hide the information into the administrative level. Okay, so that is the, you know, bitter truth in the world. And next is attractive. Attractive is also, you know, it said that your tariff rate should be attractive so that the customers get interested to use electrical energy. It is also not you know, applicable to our country. Our country, it is not attractive. They always discourage the consumers, try to use less energy as possible, so that's why they give higher rate. So it attractive is, you know, basically written as for Indian perspective, because they have much more electricity available on that country. So I think you got it, that these are some desirable characteristics of a tariff. So next we'll discuss the types of tariff. Okay, the types of tariff. Now it comes the types of tariff. There's probably 7 types of tariffs, but still there are every time, every day, there are different types of tariffs invented by the company. But these are the, you know, the main tariffs kinds, or the main types of tariff that we can know, or we can infer. The first thing is the simple tariff or the uniform rate tariff. From the name, you can easily understand that what does simple means. Simple means just the simple multiplication. There should be a one rate, no change of rate. Suppose the company will tell that whatever the amount of electricity you use, per unit cost is 10 taka. Okay. So if I use 100 unit, 100 into 10, 1000. If I use 1000 unit, 1000 into 10, 10,000. If I use 10,000 unit, 10,000 into 10, 1 lakh. Okay, 1 lakh. So it's just a very uniform rate, a simple rate, just the one multiplication. Can anyone tell that what is the disadvantage of this type of tariff rate? Can anyone tell? Can any students tell?
Yes, sir.
Please tell. Who? Abdulaziz,
Yes, sir.
you were absent the last class or probably some few last class. Why?
Only one class, sir. Last class.
Yes, last class. Today you also joined late.
Sir, I have internet problem for these days.
Okay, okay. Okay, tell Aziz, you tell. What can be the problem?
Sir, it's not this tariff is same all the customers. So it's not good for justice. It's not justice
Yes,
because
the second topic we discussed the fairness. Okay, when
yes, fairness.
when
It's
I
not
am
fair. Yes.
yes, it's not fair to all customers because I am taking so much product from you, but still you are giving me the same rate, who is taking just only 2 or 3 products. Okay, so that is
Yes.
that can discriminate, that can discourage me to use less energy. Okay, so this type of, though it is simple in terms of calculations, in terms of understanding, but there are some bad or disadvantage. Aziz, please inform us the electricity condition of Somalia, everyone.
Sir, the electricity in Somalia is very high, expensive, very expensive. Because
Something like that. Can you
yes,
give us some data? Approximately, no, not need to be correct 100%.
the lowest
Approximately.
for there is no as like Bangladesh. There's no national grid.
Okay.
There is a different independent distributions. They generate their electricity and they distribute.
Oh, they are totally independent.
Yes, they are totally independent.
So it's totally up to them that which
Yeah,
rate they will fix.
Yes. So the rate is different as the company is different. The rate is different.
Okay, so just give us a small idea. It's not like that it will be so huge difference. It will be just closer.
Yeah, the lowest value is 0.2 cent, maybe 0.2 cent, 20 cent. Yes.
20 cent dollar. That
Yes,
is dollar.
yes, the lowest price.
Oh my
Very
God.
high, very high.
It's 20 almost. If I'm not wrong,
Almost.
almost 15 to 16 taka in Bangladesh.
Yes.
What is the currency of Somalia?
Current shilling Somali.
Somali.
Yes, shilling Somali. Shilling
Somali. So
Yes.
what is the equivalent of Shilling Somali to a dollar?
It is also the low and the current situation is very bad.
That means $1 equals to how much currency?
$1 equal to 23,000 Somali shilling.
20,000.
23,000 Somali shilling.
23,000. Oh my God. Seriously?
Seriously, sir.
So that means that the is the what can I say? The product price is less or product price is also high?
The product price is low. The product is medium.
Medium. Suppose if I want to buy 1 liter of milk, how much it will cost?
Milk is very cheap, sir, because we have too much camels.
Oh yeah. Okay, just take 1 liter of oil.
1 liter of oil, I don't know, sir, because I was absent for 4 years. And now I don't know.
Okay.
Before 4 years, because I can't say exact value of 1 liter.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to know that what is the situation of electricity so that we can much more relate there on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the situation is not good, sir, for electricity.
Okay. Okay. So you cannot because there is no national grid. That's why that gives us a problem for
Yes.
all. So that is a simple tariff system. If I go to the next, the flat rate system. The flat rate system. What is the flat rate system? When the different types of consumers are charged at different uniform per unit. Different. Suppose for small customers you have 5 taka. For big customers you have 4 taka. So these are the flat rate. Flat rate. There is a difference between flat rate and uniform rate. Uniform rate is the rate is same for every person. The flat rate is there are some groups, you have divided some groups and you have set the tariff rate of individual cost differently. for a small amount of consumers, you said 5 taka, and or you can, if you can sub in dollars, so suppose 60 cents, and for the big consumers, you choose 40 cents. So definitely they are now, right now, you can get some the transparency, some of the fairness according. So this gives a small fairness to the tariff system, but we want more especially. So the next is most popular one is the block rate tariff. The block rate tariff. So the block rate, what does block rate tariff means? Let me draw some lines. Block means different blocks. Different blocks. Okay, different blocks. So at the low, suppose 100, 0 to 100. Till 100, you have 5 taka. Then till 200, that means 100 to 200. 100 to 200. Okay, 100 to 200 it is. In Bangladesh's situation, it is probably 7 taka, because it increased in Bangladesh. If you your consumption is increasing, your rate increase from 200 to 300. So 200 to 300, I'm avoiding the 0. It becomes 10 taka, and above 300, suppose above 300, it becomes 15 taka. So these are the block rate. They have fixed some block that 0 to 100, it is one block. 100 to 200, it is second block or the next block. 200 to 300, there is another block, and above 300, there is another block. So they have divided into 3 blocks. So in Bangladesh, this is Bangladesh, but in India perspective, the rate we go, the rate decreases. The next block, that it will decrease. So suppose my student, I have used 250 units of electricity. So at that time, what will be my electricity cost? 250 in this block rate. You see that 250 electricity cost. The first 100, I will pay 5 taka. So the first, for 100 first, I will pay 500 taka. The second 100, you see that 100 to 200, it is 70. So second 100, I need to pay 700 taka. Okay, because it is block tariff. So the rest of the 50 units, it will be
10.
the rest of the 50 units, it will be 50 into 10. That means another 500 taka. So total tariff, it will be 1700 or 1700 taka. So this is the block tariff, how block tariff works. So in Bangladesh, the block tariff rate is basically applied. Ahmed, can you hear me? President?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm stopping the share. Can you share the screen, that the picture I give you? Can you show us?
Yes, sir.
Please show us. Show us, though it is in Bengali, but I will probably our Bengali students will definitely read, and I can explain from there on.
Is this, sir?
Yes, this one. Can everyone can see?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
This
sir.
is if you using the postpaid electricity, in the back side of your electricity bill, you will see this type of lines at the rate. So this is the electricity block rate for residential area. My student, always remember that electricity for residential area and industry is not the same. In industry, in Bangladesh, they charge much more. In commercial area, suppose in the shopping mall or market, they charge more than the residential area, because on that area they are fixed, but in the residential area they charge less. So I'm scared that you might understand this in Bengali language, but still I'm just reading from you and translating into English. The first line is written is that it is abashik, that means residential area, and taka per kilowatt, that means the tariff rate. The taka, that means the currency per kilowatt, each unit energy. You see that this is the applicable in the one of the company that I am using the electricity. The first 0 to 50 unit. This is 0 to 50 unit. The rate is 3 taka 75 paisa. That is 3.75 taka. 3.75 taka I need to pay for first 50 units. If is more than 50 units, the next is 0 to 75. 0 to 75. So if 0 to 75, that is 4.2.
0 to 50 হবে না, 50 to 75 হবে না নাকি?
No, no, no. এটা একটা ডিফারেন্ট পলিসি হতে, যদি তোমার 50 এর নিচে থাকে তাহলে এটা ক্যালকুলেট করে। আর যদিও তোমাদের মনে করো যে 50 60 70 চলে যায় বা ইয়েতে, বা লাইফ লাইনটা ওরা হলো তোমার ইমার্জেন্সি কেসে, মনে করো তোমার কোনো ব্যবহার হচ্ছে না, ওই ক্ষেত্রে ওরা এটা ক্যালকুলেট করবে 1-2 ইউনিট ব্যবহার হচ্ছে বা এরকম ক্ষেত্রে এটা খুবই রিয়েলি ইউজ হয়। বাট তুমি স্টার্ট করতে পারো প্রথম ধাপ থেকে। সো এট ভেরি বিগিনিং 0 to 75 they take 4.19 or 4.2 taka. So when I cross 75, from 75 to 200, I need to pay 5.72 taka. You see that? 1.6 taka, 1.5 taka is been increased for the unit, every unit, because I have already crossed the 75 block. If I cross that block from 200, the third block, from 201 to 300, it is 6 taka. From 300 to 400, it is 6.34 taka. From 400 to 600, it is probably 9.6 taka. And if you go more than 600 units, you need to pay 11 taka per unit. So you see that the increase in the block. So in Bangladesh, the post-paid connection of electricity, this type of block rate tariff is applicable. But in India, if you go to this level, your energy consumption or your cost will get reduced. Why it is high in Bangladesh, why it is low in India, I already discussed. Because of the demand. The demand is higher in the country Bangladesh, and demand is low in low, that means in perspective to amount your your production. The production is more, the demand is low on that note. So I think that you have got a proper idea that how it works. Mahat, thank you so much. Thank you so much
Yes,
for
sir.
your sharing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, we get back to our study one more time. Okay. So I think you got the block rate tariff, what that actually means, and this is basically applicable to. So the next is the two-part tariff. Okay, the two-part tariff. The two-part tariff, you can also call this is a two section. The two-part tariff means two section. One is for maximum demand, another one is your consumption. One is for your maximum demand, another one is for consumption. So basically you have to pay for two things. First of all, you need to tell that this is my demand. This is my demand. So you have to pay for that your demand, and also you have to pay your consumption unit. So the two-part tariff is basically, you can see from here, my student, you can see from here that total charge goes to B into kilowatt and C into kilowatt hour. The first one is B is the charge per kilowatt of maximum demand and the charge of kilowatt of energy consumed. My student, in Bangladesh, when our electricity bill is not fully block tariff, is mixed with two tariff. Okay, we have applied these two tariff, this two-part tariff and the block tariff together, because we have also need to pay for the maximum demand. If you take your electricity bill, you will find a particular section that is demand charge, 150 taka or 100 taka, that is paid for every month, you will see. Okay, so that is you need to pay, and then your consumption. But in the consumption, the rate is not fixed, the rate is then used by block. Okay, so the two-part tariff is, suppose at the starting of the electricity connection, I demand to the company that I need the maximum demand of 100 or 1000 kilowatts. So for you, the company will take that demand because you have made the demand. So according to the demand, the company is producing that electricity. So if you do not use the 1000 kilowatt hour in a month, but you have given your demand there, so for that they take that demand charge. So basically the two-part tariff is divided into two sections. One is for the maximum demand you are demanding. Another one is the consumption of electrical energy unit that you have been using throughout the time. So this is the two-part tariff. Next, the maximum demand tariff. This is very peculiar. This is not, this is very rare in the residential area. This is basically for the industrial area. Industrial area, the maximum demand is very important because my student, because in the industry, it requires so much energy, so much electricity. So when they give the demand that we need this amount of energy, suppose 2 megawatt or 1 megawatt or 0.5 megawatt, there's a huge amount of energy. So if you demand that, so the company will definitely produce according to that. Okay, so at a month, suppose on that month, the company is shut down. The company is shut down, but the company, the industry is shut down, is closed. But the company is producing that electricity for that industry, but it is shut down. It is not using electricity. So if they don't consider the maximum demand, the company is producing electricity, they cannot supply that electricity to that, so they will not get the payment. So that's why according to the maximum demand, they charge that industry that you have already given the demand, you have to pay, either you use or not, because you have already give us the demand. So it basically, for the big customers, that means the industry level customers, not the residential customers, because in the residential area the demand is very less, close to 1000 kilowatts maximum 1000 kilowatts, but in the industry level is close to megawatt. So that's why when they give the demand, it might be harmful for that company if the industry do not use that power. Okay, so that's why they charge for that maximum demand. So that tariff becomes the maximum demand dominated tariff. At that time the power consumption is not, it gives the value, but it's still not dominated. The maximum demand takes the first position. Okay, the next is the power factor tariff. The power factor, we all know that this is a very important thing. Power factor, it gives us that how much reactive power, how much real power. We know that if your power factor is low, the amount of reactive power is high, and we do not pay for the reactive power in residential area or even in the industrial area. We pay for the real power. And in industry, if you know that maximum industry is based on induction motors. Am I clear? Induction motor, they use so much induction motors, and we all know from the machine course that induction motor has a very less power factor, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
From 4 to 4.6. So when that power factor is there, so they are using very less real power. So much power has been reactive power. So at that time, the electricity has been consumed, but still the company will not get the proper return. So at that time, they make the tariff for the industry based on the power factor. So they can use three sections. One is kVA maximum demand. So at that time, the electricity meter is converted to kVA, not kilowatt. In the residential area, it is kilowatt, but they in the industry they can convert it to kVA. kVA means the apparent power. Apparent power, the total voltage, the total current. At that time, we know that the apparent power is consists of real power and reactive power. So how much power factor, it really doesn't matter at that time, because they are giving for the apparent power bill. They have billed the electricity meter for the apparent power. So if you are taking that 100 kVA, you need to pay for 100 kVA. At that time, probably you are using 40 kilowatt, but 60 kilowatt have been lost for your reactive power. So at that time, the industry tried to maintain the power factor as low as possible. The next is sliding scale tariff. That is, the company selects a power factor, suppose 0.8. If your power factor is less than 0.8, you need to give a penalty. You need to give a penalty. If your power factor is 0.8, above 0.8, you will get a bonus or some incentive facility. So they can sometimes the company can fix this kind of range. Okay, that 0.9. If you less than 0.9, you have to give us the penalty, because when you go below 0.9, your real power is getting low, but your reactive power is getting high. But you are not paying me for the reactive power. So I am losing money. You are not losing money. You are benefiting. So for that reason, so they penalize that industry so they can get the proper return. Or the best use is the kilowatt and the kVA tariff. That means the industry has two meter. One is kilowatt, one is kVAR. kVAR is reactive power meter. Kilowatt is reactive power meter. Real power meter. So when they have 2 meter, so how much kilowatt they pay for kilowatt, and how much reactive power they pay also for that. So they have two tariffs. So they got two readings from kilowatt meter and kVAR meter. So they have two types of bill and sum up the total bill. So if your power factor is less, your kVAR meter is rating will be high. Okay, at that time you also need to the pay. So in this way, the company, the different electrical company can penalize the industry, because this happens in the industry mainly, or big consumers only, because at there the more induction motor or the more lagging power factor loads are available. But in our residential area, very less. It's very less. It's negligible, almost negligible. This is the power factor. Finally, the three-part tariff. This is not available in our country. That is three-part. One is for fixed charge. One is for maximum demand, and for the energy consumed. The last two part we already discussed for the two part. So in this type of tariff, one part is added. One is the fixed charge. That means when the company established the all the setup, so they have invested, and the day by day the machine deteriorates. It has losses its capacity. So to maintain with the pace of that, the company try to get some money from the consumers. So that's why they add a fixed suppose 100 taka from every customer. So in this way, every month they try to gather those money. So when they will their one part will be out of operation, they can replace from their money. So this is the policy of some companies, so that they can add 100 taka for the depreciation cost. Depreciation is a proper word. Depreciation, that means the value of losing the capacity. So these are the 7 types of tariff from my side, my student. From the next class, we'll start some of the mathematics using the tariff idea. So I am unmuting all my students. I hope that all students have given the role. The maximum 16 students have been joined today. I saw. I have unmuted all my students. If still you have any questions regarding tariff, I will be more than happy to answer you. My students, the floor is yours. My student, the floor is yours. You can ask me if you have any question related to tariff system.
Sir,
Sir, please. Please.
Sir, the residential area, and the company charge the maximum demand, because if I don't use this month, if I don't use any electricity for this month,
okay,
I have to pay some money.
Yes.
So that is why is that?
Because that in the residential area, this is depends on the company. Some company charge the demand charge. The maximum demand is basically the charge is known as demand charge. Okay. So when I when I apply to the electricity connection, definitely at that time I need to mention that how much demand I need to make. Okay, that this is the maximum demand I will use. So you have to give a value in the form. So you are demanding. Okay, you are demanding. So if if just like you, 100 amount of 100 houses are not using the electricity according to the level at that time, but from your demand, the electrical company, they will produce the electricity, isn't it?
Yes.
So when you are not using, they have done the preparation, they are doing according to a demand, but when you are not using, they are losing some money. They are losing some money. So to compensate those money, because you have given the demand, you are not using, so you should have been given less demand, but you have been given demand. So that's why the company in the demand charge is not too much. It's not too much. Suppose 50 taka or 100 taka, a small portion according to your demand. But the demand charge comes to the big play when it goes to the big industry, because at that time we are probably using 500 unit electricity in a house, but they are using 5 megawatt electricity. So when they give the demand 5 megawatt and the company is producing that kind of energy, and so suddenly 2 months your industry is shut down. So and you will not notice the company. No one will inform the company that we have been shutting down our company, our industry. Please don't produce electricity for us. Will you do? No, no one of us will do. So that for that reason, the company try to be in the safe side. They charge the maximum demand. In the residential area, the charge is very low, but it plays the vital role in the when it goes to the big customer section. I think you are clear in this section.
Yes, sir, it's clear. So if I inform them, they will not produce, but the connection will be in my
no one will inform. Okay. No one will inform. At that time, when you will inform that I will not use, at that time you see you in Bangladesh, you might see that your connection is off. Okay. And sometimes they come and they cut the connections. Okay.
So I have to, if I want to use, I have to demand it again.
Again. In Bangladesh, these are all the administrative process is very slow. You might stay your 5 months without electricity. Okay. Okay. Any more questions from your side? You can ask. Anyone? If I think everyone has given the role, please give a role in the chat box. If you don't have any question, you can leave, because our main class is finished. If any students have any question, you can stay and discuss with me. But if you don't have any question, you can leave.
Sir, yes, in the class there is a 7 tariff or 6 tariff.
7.
But there is another method is that can be in charge. So if this fixed 6, this or 7 tariff, this 7 tariff is fixed, or is there another method that I can charge?
It's not fixed. It's not fixed. Aziz, I not say that there are only 7 tariffs. I say that these are the most popular tariffs. You can sometimes some company can mix it up. I said already that in Bangladesh they are using 2 types of. They are using 2-part tariff also. They are using maximum demand tariff also. Okay, so they are using the block tariff and the 2-part tariff. So it's not that you have to maintain that. It's totally depend on the company. It totally depend on the company.
Okay, sir.
There might be more method to set up, but these are the popular. These are the popular used for the postpaid connections that I've discussed.
Okay.
And especially in the subcontinent region, because the writer has written from India, so he has considered the subcontinent region also. So that's why I wanted to tell.
Is there another book is that you can recommend us to read related to the lower countries, lower level countries?
No, the writer we follow basically is basically the subcontinent. You better Google. You better Google that. What is the tariff rate in the Africa? What is the tariff rate in South Africa? You can search. You can easily get those informations from the internet. Okay, you don't need from book you need the knowledge, but the information, the data is updating. Book, these books probably written 10 years ago or 20 years ago, but the fact data is available in the internet, Google. So you can definitely go for that. That what is the tariff system? What is the electricity bill system in South Africa? So you can easily get the website, some of the websites from the electric company. Am I clear, Aziz?
Yes,
Always,
sir.
it will be always in the rest of your life.
Hello, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.